People are the main thing. I'm Daniel Whittington, Chancellor of Wizard Academy and Whiskey Marketing School. I did a newsletter about this last month, Wizard Academy. I thought if you subscribe to the Wizard Academy newsletter, which you should, I write those about every week or so, and sometimes you'll get early insight into things that then end up on this channel as a conversation. And wizardacademy.org, and somewhere on that homepage down to the bottom, I think you can sign up for the newsletter. It's called Wisdom from the Academy, and I tend to write there first, and then I'll shoot them later if I feel like it adds to this channel. In my role as whiskey sommelier, Chancellor of Whiskey Marketing School, and general whiskey nerd in the whiskey industry in the world, I get dropped into way more than my fair share of unbelievably nerdy conversations. And especially late nights in a bar and hanging out post events with a mixed group of whiskey people, you stumble into a group of very knowledgeable and very passionate and often very nerdy people talking about very nerdy things and with very strong opinions. And very quickly, in certain environments, you get people arguing about the fundamentals of truth and reality and what isn't good and why does it matter, and you don't obviously, or you get people giving a tasting where like, well, this is how our distillery blends and anything else is bullshit, you don't care. Or this is how we do fermentations, and anybody who doesn't do fermentations like this just doesn't understand whiskey. And you start to sort of like shove people into, categories and you crap on them and like, well, only the people who agree with us are the right way to think about whiskey. And you can very quickly forget that that's not the point of whiskey. People are the point. Whiskey is the other thing, not the main thing. It's the other thing. Whiskey, and there are passionate people in it, and they should be, and you should have passions about what you're doing and why you do it. But the moment you lose sight that all of this work and all of this effort and the labels and your fermentations and how you distill and how you age, all of those things are in service not just of the liquid, but in service of the moment between people that the liquid allows you to create. That's the point of whiskey. That's the point. Whiskey is not the point. What it allows and what it creates and what it fosters and the connections and conversations it creates, that's the point. People are the point. Whiskey is not the point. And I can't count how many meaningful conversations and deep changes in my life and awareness I've had sitting over a glass of whiskey. And I know somewhere someone did all the work to nerd out on every level of the production process, and they were very passionate about it. But what I remember most about a whiskey is the moment it took in my life where I shared it with someone that I cared about or had a conversation that was meaningful to me as we shared that whiskey. And that's always going to be my most powerful memory of a brand or a whiskey. It's not going to be how you did your fermentations. It's going to be hanging out with you and having a drink. And that's the point of it. And then I was thinking about that and I realized I've had the same conversations over and over at Wizard Academy when I teach about marketing. But first, let's drink some Willett. It's been a while since I've done Willett, but we're doing Willett Straight Rye, Family Estate Bottled Small Batch Rye. There's a whole bunch of words. I love the labels, though. This is one of those bottles that I've always loved the label. This is, if you remember in the early days of Willett, and the Willett family name goes back a long ways, and a lot of connections and original distillery buildings. But when they first came back on the scene, they were sourcing stuff, and then eventually they brought in family members and built all of their own stuff. And so now we're getting to try Willett whiskey distilled at Willett by their whole space and their family. This is supposedly a blend of two of their rye mash bills, 90% of one and 10% of the other, one of them being 74 rye, 11 corn, 15 malted barley, and the second one being 51 rye, this is almost bourbon, 34% corn, 15% malted barley, right? It's not almost bourbon, but it's almost not rye. So 90% of the higher rye, 10% of the lower rye mash bill, at least 4, we don't know how long. But remember, this is the brand that did, Noah's Mill, Roan Creek, Pure Kentucky, Old Bardstown, and the Willett bourbon is that pot still looking one. I got a bottle right over there I can see, actually. The Willett shaped like a pot still. And where it used to be. No, I'm getting a reflection from, nope, it's there. Okay. And, but the rye has always, to me, been one of the more, like, really great classic Kentucky ryes. And by Kentucky ryes, I always say, Kentucky guys, for some reason, make rye that, like it's a bourbon drinker's rye. And man, I picked this up, and while I was talking, all I got was this explosion of cinnamon and mint. Like a massive combination of mint leaves and cinnamon. Like a julep, almost. Bready, green botanical spice. Cinnamon, deep sweetness. Okay. I take that back. This one, I think this might be the first time I've truly tried, since they're making their own stuff. This is way spicier than any generic Kentucky rye I've had in a long time. This palate is super, almost eucalyptus, peppermint, cinnamon, licorice. Really like cinnamon, red hot cinnamon. Very sweet. Interesting. I'm gonna add a little water. This is 57.3. Good God. Okay. We'll come back to it. Okay. As marketing business people, we often get lost in the fine details of like a marketing campaign and a marketing message and clever phrases and minutia of the business and how we want to present our business case to the world and our unique selling and all blah, 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 blah. We study marketing, we eat it, we breathe it, we get really nerdy about the nuances of how we deliver on social media and how we write a billboard. And we can sometimes forget in the business world and in marketing consultants, the only point of marketing is to communicate between people. It's still only about people, right? I wrote a newsletter and I did a whole video on this, which was, the point of marketing is letting one person be heard in a way that makes someone else feel seen. That's the point of marketing, that connection. We have the service. We want to provide this thing to the world. We think we're contributing to the world. Here's what we believe. And someone else going like, man, I need that. I love that. I believe what you believe. I agree. You're my kind of people. I want to work with you, right? So giving someone a human voice and making another human feel seen and heard and then meeting their need, that's the essence of all great business, if it's real and not just trying to make a dime and turn a profit. So even in marketing, it's about people and story and connection. We all crave a deeper, more meaningful life, deeper, more meaningful relationships, all of us. And I would say that that's the goal, right? Just remember, no matter what you're involved in, whiskey to marketing to whatever your passion is, the point of it is people and connection. The point of it is people and connection. Yeah? Let's see what the water did really quick. It softened it into, straight, candy cane. Straight candy cane with a little bit of cherry and a lot of cinnamon zest. I liked it better without water at higher proof. Anyway, very interesting. I hope you're having those moments. I hope you're finding the deeper connection and the deeper meaning. I hope you are surrounded by people who are helping you foster that and rewarding that search in you. And remember that it starts with all of us. This is how we all get a chance to heal our own little corner of the world. People in connection. Cheers to you. I'm really glad you're here. I don't know if you know, but I read every comment, even the jerk ones. But that's where I get a lot of my questions that I answer on the show, and that's where I get the chance to kind of connect and see what you guys are thinking. I read them all. I would love for you to join that. Like and subscribe, make a comment, and I'll see you soon.